mayoral debate here at Fayetteville State, and we hope to host one again in 2 years. This is a nonpartisan effort. We are hoping to use our roles as scholars and academics to have a positive influence on our community, to provide a stage for intellectual conversation. Thinking is just a fancy word for changing your mind. For too long, we have treated the ballot box as buttons, our fingers on buzzers, a 50% chance to achieve utopia and a 50% chance for dystopia. But that is not true. Elections cannot be treated as games because they are not. These are decisions that affect real people whose lives are affected by our very votes. I am biased. My horse in this race is twofold. The first is to produce a bipartisan, objective, and productive dialogue. Laura Muesler, Erica Burns, Simone Pemberton, and Pam Carver from the county GOP and Dems have done just that with 2 very successful city council debates this last week, and I think they deserve a round of applause. The second is to bring prestige to our shared city's namesake university. We host the mayor and city council inaugurations here, and hopefully we can continue to host debates here. I put up $1,000 of my own money just to make this happen because it matters this much. No matter what or who we encounter, the end goal is the same: to have a good conversation and to bring prestige, honor, and respect to those who came before us, such as Professor Smith. This institution is to uphold greatness and achievement. To wrap it up, our opening statement, we ask the audience to be respectful and give each candidate the respect they deserve. If the moderators are unable to control the candidates, we hope they can hold some self-restraint. Lastly, I will introduce our moderators. Paul Wolverton. He has been a senior reporter for City View since 2023, and for 30 years has been a reporter for the Fayetteville Observer. Allison, she is our student moderator. She is a junior at FSU. She is pursuing a bachelor's in history with a minor in public history and aspires to be a historian. And lastly, Miss Lisa Greathouse, retired from the North Carolina Department of Nature and Cultural Resources of 34 years of service. She is a native of Fayetteville, and in 2010, she won the first ever Turn-In Ambassador Award. I turn it over to you.
Also on the, discuss the rules of the debate. So we're not doing opening statements from each of the candidates, but they will have a time at the end to give closing statements. We're going to draw a name from our bowl here, and then we will draw a question, and we'll direct the question to the person who is named. They will have 90 seconds to answer, and then if other candidates would like to respond or rebut or anything, they can let us know, and they'll have 30 seconds. We're running from 3 until 5. We'll have a short break at 4 p.m. We will allow additional time for follow-ups or clarifications at our discretion. And we ask you to stay on topic, and if you start drifting off topic, we may stop you and ask you to get back on topic. If at the end of your 90 seconds or 30 seconds you are mid-thought, we'll let you complete your thought, but then please stop. They'll be flagging you with the time's up. If you keep going, then we will speak up to ask you to stop. And we're ready to begin. Oh, we're also, if you really misbehave, we'll turn off your mic. Shall we go?
Freddie de la Cruz for the first question.
Mr. de la Cruz, here's your question. What in your personal or professional background motivates you to serve as mayor of Fayetteville?
Thank you for that question. What motivated me to be the mayor? I'm a born-again believer. Okay, I believe in Christ. I know where I'm going to go when I die. So I'm not worried about anything, really. I truly want to help the citizens of Fayetteville. And I believe that because of my experience as a family man. I served 32 years in the United States Army. I'm a business owner. And after retiring from the military, serving 32 years, there was a void. I served soldiers and civilians for 32 years, and when I got out, I decided that I wanted to continue to serve in a capacity as a public servant. And on 20 May 2020, I decided that I wanted to run for mayor of Fayetteville so that I can help the people solve some of the problems that we have in Fayetteville today. The housing issue we have, the homeless problems that we have. My focus is going to be on fiscal responsibility, fiscal accountability, and public safety. So that's what motivated me, so that I can leverage the potential, my experiences to help the citizens of Fayetteville move the city to a safe and prosperous city.
Thank you. We're now going to draw another name from the bowl and give this question to someone else. Mrs. Smith? What in your personal or professional background motivates you to serve as mayor of Fayetteville?
Okay, well, professional background, I haven't been in any, government or municipal, levels. However, I've done student council. I sat on the board of vice president for housing, Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority, and I sat on the Cumberland County School PTA board for chair as diversity and inclusion when it was a thing. And after that, it's just serving in the community. I used to work at the Fayetteville Cares Day Resource Centers, serving the unhoused community like they were regular folks. It didn't matter background, didn't matter what the issue was. I served them as if I served someone at a Hilton hotel. So me serving in the community up north from where I'm from in New Jersey to down here, all I've been doing is serving, doing the work.
Thank you. And one more. Let's get this question to one more candidate. Okay, Mrs. Jensen. What in your personal or professional background motivates you to serve as mayor of the city?
Thank you. I'm glad I got that question. So I am a mother. I am a military brat, a military spouse. I'm a small business owner, and I have been a caregiver, and I've also been an elected official. So through my journey of life, I have learned what it's like to get up every morning, get your kids to school, get them there on time, start your own business, try to make payroll, have sickly parents or grandparents, making sure that they are being taken care of, and then turn around and know that when you are in the largest neighbor to the largest military installation in the world, that there are different and unique circumstances that happen here in Fayetteville. And I can say in the past 4 years, I have gotten involved in that and learned that we are not leveraging our neighbors, that we are the largest neighbor too. There are many contracts, there are many things that we can do with Fort Bragg that we are pushing to. So I like to connect the dots. I'm seeing the dots get connected, and I am Fayetteville. I am a mother, military, business owner, caregiver, and a servant. And I think that's what 90% of the Fayetteville people are. We are one of those things. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a point of clarification, do we get 30 seconds to respond to that, or is it just for things that you as moderators believe deserve a rebuttal?
Yeah, the moderator's discretion.
Okay.
There's a
At your discretion, may we each have 30 seconds to address that also, or would you all like to move on to the next question?
in consideration of time, we want to move on.
Thank you.
But we are keeping up with how many questions people are getting so that we make sure we are fair.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for clarification. Thanks for asking.
Also, when you all answer the questions, please speak into the microphone. When we make sure that everybody can hear you. Like Freddie, for example, you might want to adjust your microphone. Okay. So next question, or next person?
Courtney Banks McLaughlin.
And oh, not present. Here we go. Let's yeah, let's draw it. We already spoken with Ms. Jensen.
John Ashford.
Mr. Ashford? Not here also. Okay.
Mitch Colvin.
Mr. Colvin, what is your opinion of ShotSpotter?
Thank you so much. First, thank you to the Cumberland County Democratic Party, the Student Democratic Party, and all of you who decided to spend your Sunday with us. I have made it very clear that my initial objective in the public safety is to fix the problem. And I am open to any type of reasonable, comprehensive approach that it takes. Now, so far, from what we can see for what is working, our community's violent crime has been trending down for the last couple of years, but I think it's in part to a number of things that we're doing. We've increased our spending in community programs and our partnerships. ShotSpotter has shown some preliminary signs of success for faster response times. It has increased the amount of response times. There was an incident the other day where ShotSpotter connected with a 911 call where it helps the officers respond, and they found 2 victims to where they were able to render aid to one of the victims. And so anything that helps keep our community safe, I'm for it. I think that we're still in a trial period, and I was glad to see the City Council renewed it, because out of that, so far has come the recovery of 45 weapons, of several arrests, over 1,000 bullet casings that have been used to solve other crimes. And anytime we take those kind of steps toward creating a safer community, I'm in favor of it.
Would anybody like to have 30 seconds to add their thoughts? Mr. Benavente?
Thank you, Mr. Wolverton.
Can you check his mic, please?
Try again. At the bottom. Okay.
Or he could borrow someone else's?
Mic check 1, 2. My name is Mario Benavente. Beyond City Council, I also am an attorney here in Fayetteville, and I think that benefits my ability to speak to this issue because I can see whether or not what happens in City Hall, the policies are actually translating inside the courtroom. And I got to tell you that the issue with ShotSpotter is that it's, unfortunately, decisions being made around it are not being data-driven. We requested the Wilson Center from Duke Law look into the efficacy of this, and a lot of the data the mayor just shared is skewed. When you look at ShotSpotter only alerts, they do not yield those kinds of results. When they correspond with a 911 call, we do get better results. So that's why we say at best it's redundant, but at worst, the community is asking that.
Okay, it's time.
Go back to the community for things that truly get done.
Anybody else who would like to weigh in? You've already spoken, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else like to speak on this topic? Okay. Go to the next.
Clifton L. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, here's your question. What improvements do you propose for the FAST system, Fayetteville Area System of Transit?
Mic check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So first, thanks for inviting me here today. Allow me to come here and speak. Improvements that I see for the FAST system. So as you know, our FAST system has been improving over time. However, the FAST system does not reach all of the residents in Fayetteville right now. You get certain residents that are out in western parts of Fayetteville that FAST system does not have routes to get there. So I would have improvements on one, adding extra routes in for the fast system, bringing on programs that will actually improve the fast system, invest in money to upgrade the system, and later on, taking that fast system, making sure that it reaches all of the areas in Fayetteville that was actually put out so that people out in Fayetteville can actually reach the actual transit to jobs.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else would like to respond to that question? Ms. Smith?
Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I want to say that first of all. Thank you. I would definitely agree as far as the distance and locations there need to be. There also needs to be more bus stops that have benches available or huts or what have you, you know, the little things so when it rains, it's not inconveniencing the citizen. We should also have where the benches also have a space for wheelchair accessibility for those who have to use the wheelchair to get on the bus. There needs to be a sign that has the bus schedule on there also, so people know. It's a little confusing.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to?
Yes, with regard to FAST, one of the first things I would do is coordinate with the county and see how we can leverage a FAST system, you know, for all the municipalities within Cumberland County. I think I have an idea. It's called efficient shuttle transport, where we leverage we develop a program where you use your phone and we target the people who need the system, the transportation to and from work. So I would want to focus on an efficient shuttle transport system where we target people who really actually need the transportation when they're going to and from work or to and from the hospital. So I think it's very important because this is something that is going to absolutely help up
Mr. Mayor and then Councilman Benavente.
Yes, I mean, I agree with most of the comments that have been made. I think the overall objective as the policy board is to set the objective, which was to make transit an option of desire versus requirement or need, you know, or necessity. And so we've tasked the staff and the new director to do that. We've been upgrading the equipment. We've got some of the latest electrical buses in the decarbonization. We've received grants to get natural gas powered buses and continue to make it more efficient so that when people use it.
Again, I would like to remind the candidates, the question is what improvements do you propose versus what is currently going on? Are there new initiatives? Even if you're sitting as the mayor or city council, what else is going on?
The issue of transit is so important to me. We made it a top 3 pillar of our campaign. When we went to strategic planning earlier this year, we convinced the majority of council to make transit improvements a top 5 priority for the city. That's how crucial this is. We don't pay our bus drivers enough. We don't have enough routes. The reason we don't have shelters at a lot of these stops is because we're relying on federal grants only that have huge demands on how many riders have to be there. Then there's a vicious cycle of not enough people coming because there's not enough shelter. If there's not enough shelter, people don't come, and around we go. So us as a city have to make an investment in making a more robust transit system here in the city.
Okay, can I have a question?
Was there someone else up there?
I would like to.
We'll give you all 30 seconds, and then we're going to move to the next question.
Okay. You let me.
That wasn't a response to me.
And Mrs. Wadell has not had a chance to speak at all yet, so if you wouldn't mind letting her have the mic.
Thank you. Would you mind reading the question one more time for me?
Yeah, happy to. What improvements do you propose to the FAST bus system, Fayetteville Area System of Transit?
Thank you. I believe that when we think about improvements, we definitely do have to look at what's already being done. And Tiffany Neal is doing a phenomenal job. And I just want to remind our community that we need to celebrate our wins also. And so recently I was in a forum with a member of the community who is not a typical bus rider, and she gave feedback that our bus system is making vast improvements under Tiffany Neal's structure. And so I would just say that we need to continue to lean on our staff to see what advancements need to be made. Thank you.
You spoke initially on this question, correct, Ms. Smith? So,
Yeah, but I was like mid, just like you said, mid-thought. But I wanted to respect the time as well, so I just wanted to add something. That was it.
we'll give you 1 sentence.
Yes, one sentence. We need to extend the time, and we need to get the bus drivers more pay. They positive on that.
All right, very good.
Yes.
Let's draw the next name. So, Mr. Benavente?
How do you plan to integrate environmental concerns like sustainability or green space preservation into economic development strategies?
So anytime that the city of Fayetteville tries to recruit new industries, we do a really great job of giving tax incentives and sort of making the red carpet roll out so that we can proclaim all these great jobs. But we seem to sometimes skip some really crucial questions about their environmental impact. You'll see the community oftentimes has to organize and come to City Hall and demand that we be clear with those residents who might be living next to a plastic plant, who might be living next to a potential Chemours level polluter. And they have to be the ones asking these critical questions. Because a lot of folks on City Council, for better or for worse, want to be able to brag about the tens of thousands of jobs, the hundreds of millions of dollars that are great to brag about up until something goes wrong. So we've got to measure twice and cut once when it comes to environmental issues. And so far, since I've been on council, there were times where I had to be the single vote saying, hey, I'm all for titanium plants, I'm all for this great investments, but can I answer a question to a resident who asks me, what is the environmental impact? Are there protections in place? And if I can't articulate that answer to you, then we've got to slow our roll. And you've got to, as citizens, ask your council members to explain to you exactly how they plan to address that. Because when they can't answer you, but they want to tell you all the good things without telling you any of the potential negative, that shows you what happens when people are not environmentally justice-minded. For so long, environmental racism has plagued parts of this city. There are people who are breathing in plenty of chemicals and dust, and those folks, unfortunately, are having their voices heard by the city council.
Is there anyone who would like to add 30 seconds to that, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely. I champion the collaboration between the county and our universities to go to DC to get a sustainability grant, $500,000. Fayetteville State was able to leverage that for an additional $900,000 with PwC to create sustainable incentives for our companies. We also offer incentives to businesses for additional green space and other things. As it relates to jobs, everything that you hear about tonight, they're going to tell you the root causes are poverty, but you have to have jobs in order to eradicate that. And if you're really sincere about it, you can't vote against economic six-figure jobs when you say that people in your communities are in their position because of poverty.
Just draw the next name.
Paul Williams.
How will you ensure that the people of Fayetteville's Fourth Amendment rights are protected? How will you ensure that the people of Fayetteville's Fourth Amendment rights are protected?
Well, it helped to better understand the Fourth Amendment as far as first, second, third, and the rest of them. We get classes on how to run for office, but none on the Constitution. Our schools are limited in what they teach us as well. So I think education is going to be key as far as our public schools, and as far as politicians, I think the North Carolina League of Municipality can play a big role there, and making sure that our elected officials understand the Constitution, because they so freely ignore it, in my opinion. So I'm not sure what more to add to that other than we do need to be better educated on the Constitution.
And so, someone might say that the primary people who are dealing with Fourth Amendment matters might be law enforcement. So how do you ensure that the law enforcement officers don't cross that line? Having trouble? Okay. So, law enforcement is probably the primary people who handle Fourth Amendment matters. They got to be careful not to cross the Fourth Amendment line and make sure they, respect people's rights. So, what would you do in that regard?
Again, better education of these officers. We all need, especially elected officials, but especially police officers, we need to be better educated as to our constitutional rights. And a lot of us are really uneducated when it comes to exactly what those rights are.
Is there anybody else who would like to, Mr. Benavente, Councilman?
This is where having an attorney as the next mayor really matters, y'all. The Fourth Amendment is supposed to protect citizens against unreasonable search and seizure. And one of the biggest ways that the city spends its $300 million budget is on law enforcement. And for better or for worse, for over 10 years, FPD has been stopping and searching black drivers at twice the rate of white drivers. And there are other cities that have addressed this. We're not the only city with this problem, but unfortunately, we're one of the few cities that have refused to do anything about it. So I've submitted legislation. Unfortunately, the majority of this city council has voted against it.
Mr. Wolverton, if I may.
Sure, we have you and Ms.
Absolutely. I can wait my turn. I think somebody else will get it for me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Right. Well, what I was going to say, and that was a great question. What I was going to say is, I mean, this sounds all good to have a attorney as mayor, but you were on the seat. You guys have been here already, and nothing has been done. So to put all these accolades and all this stuff out to tell us, oh, it would be nice to have us on the board. You were here, but you could have educated us on that as an attorney. You could have educated the people on that, but you did not.
If I could respond to that.
Please.
That was pretty pointed.
Okay. You can have a rebuttal and then we'll go back to
I mean, I'm just saying, listen.
Mr. Colvin.
Mr. Wolverton, can we have an opportunity to address it? I had my hand up initially.
But I guess the rules say that I was directly addressed, so I'd be glad to respond directly. We do know your rights events.
Yeah, Mr. Colvin, you will get a chance, but the rules do state that if a candidate is called out, they get a 30-second rebuttal.
Thank you.
Please, Mr. Benavente, keep it to 30 seconds.
Of course. So we do know your rights events for when you're stopped by law enforcement. I do know your rights events for tenants' rights, so folks aren't improperly evicted. I do my best to educate my colleagues on best practices and good policy, but I've got to tell you, here in the city of Fayetteville, in City Hall, behind closed doors, good sense doesn't always win the day. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in 2 times being on city council, is that oftentimes what is technically correct doesn't matter. It's what's politically popular. And right now, they estimate that the majority of people here in this room don't
Time's
care
up,
about
Mr.
these issues.
Benavente. Mr. Colvin, you are next.
Thank you so much. There's a term called gaslighting, where we say things for an emotional response. The Constitution points to judges in our courts to tell us about probable cause and search and seizure. We expect our attorneys and the city council and our employees, including the police department, to abide by the Constitution. The thing that he's telling you is that most of those stops, City of Fayetteville has addressed that. We called the Justice Department in to do a review before our time, anyone that's on this dais. But what I will say is that economics are behind it, and you can't vote against jobs when most of those stops are coming because of economic related.
Okay. Time. Ms. Wadell, you wanted to speak on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wolverton. I just want to again remind our audience that when you ask for accountability to any system, you have to first expect it from the body that you're asking for it from. And so, as you all know, my platform is transparency, ethics, and accountability. I think we've lacked that for a long time, and you cannot expect anybody to hold anybody else accountable if we will not first hold ourselves accountable.
And, yes, sir?
So I just want an opportunity to respond in regards to the question. So, and I get 30 seconds. So I understand what everyone here is saying, but it all kind of goes down to simple accountability. I'm sitting up here right now, talking with you all right now. I've been stopped and searched 3 times within the last 21 days. It's just life, how it is. So that's why we need to get with our leaders and we need to put accountability back into our laws that white people will not continually have to deal with this. This is a lack of understanding, so we need accountability to understand what the 4th Amendment is.
And let's draw the next name.
Tisha Wadell.
Yes.
Mrs. Wadell, the city did not consider the effects of the curfew once implemented on the neighboring townships. How do you plan to include and consider our smaller townships when making decisions?
Thank you for that question. I think often we have noticed an overlook when it comes to that type of collaborative conversation. And so if you'll take a look at my website at the 90-day plan that I've outlined, one of the things in that plan is to ensure that we are bringing all of the parties to the table to have collaborative conversations from the very onset. Not only did we not consider the other communities, but we also didn't consider some of the big players in this community who directly deal with issues that surround our young people and some of the violence that besets them. So I think that we really have to do a better job of engaging the stakeholders throughout this community and our surrounding region in order to make sure that we are efficiently addressing the problems that our community faces.
Thank you, Mrs. Wadell. Mrs. Jensen, I saw your hand first.
Thank you. To address the curfew in our surrounding cities. So I don't know if everybody knows that the county has had a curfew in place since 1997. That does not include all the other cities, but what we have to realize is people come into the city to do entertainment, and everybody from smaller cities comes into our city late at night, and the thing for the curfew is not to punish children, it is to keep them out of fire. Thank you.
Mr. Benavente.
Thank you. So we asked our city staff to show us whether or not the county has even utilized their supposed curfew. There have been no evidence to show that they actually enforce it. When the city imposed the same concept, we originally were going to charge the children with crimes. We were going to then charge the parents with crimes. After the community stood up and spoke, they took out the criminalization of the youth, but we're still going to make it really hard for parents who are having a hard time with their kids. At the end of the day, these families need help and support, and we can help them instead of just hurting them.
Okay, Mr. Colvin.
Again, gaslighting. You can go to the comments, go to the initial comments. The intent of the ordinance was never to charge minors. Now, when the technical portion came, as we transitioned into it, we found out that the language wasn't clear, and the city council immediately fixed that. But what I will say as it relates to the other municipalities and towns, we meet every month, Spring Lake and Hope Mills, but these are urban problems. And I was hired and swore oath to protect the children of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And if a curfew does it and gets parental participation like it has, then I'm all for that.
Ms. Smith?
Thank you. I understand the curfew, but I'm only asking, when they came up with that particular rule, law, what have you, did they even consider why the children are in the street? That's all I'm ever asking. Like, have y'all ever considered why the youth are in the street? Nobody wants, and like I said before, no one wants to be in the street. They want to be home. We have to target the homes and get those together before anything.
Let's draw the next name.
Tisha Wadell. How would you improve transparency in the handling of the unsheltered/homeless population?
I'm sorry, I need you to speak up just a little bit.
How would you improve transparency in the handling of the unsheltered/homeless population?
Thank you for that question. While on council, I had an opportunity to visit a facility that served the unhoused community at varying levels. I think the first thing that we all have to acknowledge is that homelessness looks very different depending on what your vantage point is. There are a lot of families who are experiencing homelessness that you may not realize are experiencing it. So this type of a facility had a multi-layered approach. One of the things that I would do is approach our county partners and ask them to take a look at a model like this. It's called Haven for Hope, if you'd like to take a look, and see if there's some collaborative way that we would be able to execute a program like Haven for Hope, because again, it has a multi-layered, multifaceted approach to being able to support people that are experiencing different levels of homelessness. You would be very surprised at some of the people who are unhoused that you would not expect. And we need a different approach than the one that we've currently seen. And I really like Haven for Hope, so that would be my suggestion.
Can she repeat that question? I didn't hear the first part of the muffle. Sorry.
How would you improve transparency in the handling of the unsheltered/homeless population?
Would you like 30 seconds? Any of y'all?
I want to understand the question a little better.
Transparency and homelessness.
Yeah, I'll be glad to.
I'm not understanding.
Yes.
Well, the question was, how would you improve transparency in the handling of the unsheltered and homeless population? These commissions, I have to say, the questions, we didn't see the questions before. I can't speak to what's behind it.
I've got you. I think, like the Fourth Amendment question, I'll kind of define the issue, and then I think other people will pick up on it. So I got you.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry.
I got you. So, the city of Fayetteville, at one point, tried to bus people out of the city. People who were then stranded in Durham, and then people had to go help them get back to their families here in Fayetteville. We have not been transparent about issues of homelessness in the city because we tried to foist that situation 100% onto the county, and we point fingers, and we refuse to play our part. What we have with the Dade Resource Center is a good start, but we have to be the one to keep up the pressure. The citizens of Fayetteville, at every single community watch, at every single event where they can be heard, they demand the city council do something for homelessness, and every time we miss the mark, it's because we keep pointing the finger elsewhere. That's the transparent issue that we need to discuss.
Okay, let's do Ms. Jensen and then Ms. Smith.
So just a little rebuttal about the city putting people on buses and sending them to Durham. There was no place for these people to go to. And they got on a bus to go to Durham where they would have a place to live, a place to go to work, and education. But they had to go there, and they had in the facility that they were in, it was a job, a place to stay, and an education. Now, I think that's the goal that would be great for us to have in Fayetteville to give our unhoused some hope. Thank you.
Ms. Smith, you were next.
All right, well, if we're going to talk about the unhoused and we're talking about transparency, you can't get no transparent than somebody sleeping on the steps of the library. I'm just saying. I've worked with the unhoused community since I've been down here pretty much. I have been unhoused several times, so I do understand there is a different type of homelessness, but you only understand it when you have been a part of it. There, we just cannot just throw people in homes. We can't just throw them in jobs because the mindset has to change. We have to help them understand what rehabilitation looks like before we do any of all the other stuff.
Okay, Mr. Colvin.
Thank you. Partnerships with transitional housing for people who may be in a temporary situation until they get back on their feet. We did it with rental assistance. We partnered with other agencies for 90-day stays, of course jobs, and of course connecting them to the resources of the Day Resource Center, I think will be the most effective to play our role and to support the county.
Let's draw the next name.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Smith, what is your plan to decrease crime in the city?
What is my plan to decrease crime in the city? Correct. Well, definitely my answer would not be a bunch of police because they are already doing the best that they can. Well, I would definitely help with, the city needs to help fund better programs that the youth and the younger adults, even adults, might want to do. Everybody is not into sports. So a lot of people are very creative. We need to just be more creative in the ideas that we had to put out. And the programs that are already out here that are working, we need to help them be funded. The ones that aren't, we need to snatch that money and pour more into the programs that do work. We need to think about different avenues that will grab the attention of people who are out there cutting up in the streets. You understand? A lot of them love music. Why don't we have more musical programs? A lot of them have art. Why are we not having even more festivals or events or creating places for them to just rock out with? Everything is, we just don't have enough variety of things that interest people in the city. We need to do that. That's what I would focus on.
Anyone who would like to follow? We'll start with Mr. Colvin and Mr. Benavente.
I think we continue to build partnerships with the school system, identify these kids, give them options as we continue to expand our after-school programs. STEM in our community centers are being taught. media and audio skills to do record recording and mass media. But we continue to give them a pathway to success, and I think that is going to be critical in making sure that we proactively address it. But you can't change a systems crime situation without dealing with some of the symptoms, and we have to continue to take a comprehensive approach like we're doing by expanding our presence with technology and other options.
Mr. Benavente?
We need to stop chasing symptoms. We need a cure for crime here in the city of Fayetteville.
Why do you keep saying cure for crime? Who cures crime?
Ms. Smith?
So I'll be glad to explain the
That is
analogy, and I'll
insane.
ask for some time back.
It's not a cold. You don't cure
You're exactly
crime.
right.
We're going to let Mr. Benavente start over.
Sure. You're exactly right. It's not a cold. But that's exactly what we're doing when we only apply one-dimensional approach. Law enforcement is like the emergency room. We need a well-funded, well-established emergency room for emergencies. But if after you have that heart attack, that heart scare, after you leave the emergency room, you need to get to a cardiologist. You might need to go see a nutritionist to get on a heart-healthy diet. There are other aspects of having a public health approach to community safety that we need to employ in the city of Fayetteville. We've started that by developing the Office of Community Safety that I introduced to the city council.
Thank you. That's
Those
your
are the
time.
kinds of things that eventually will make the city safer, more sustainable.
Mr. De La Cruz?
Yeah, some of the things I would do would leverage the vehicles that we got parked at the motor pool. A lot of police vehicles just sitting there parking. I would rotate those in different neighborhoods as to mitigate crime. I would have the police officers, do more code, just turning on their blue lights while they're driving around the neighborhoods. That's going to mitigate against crime simply from the fact that if you're going to commit a crime and you see a vehicle parked in a neighborhood, if you have lights, I would leverage the assets that we have. I would coordinate with the county and see how we could work together in developing a 911 center where we can have all the municipalities work together.
Okay, shut me myself.
Ms. Wadell, do you want to speak?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
So I believe that we have to focus on the family because the fracture in the family does lead to a decline in the community. And one of the ways that because our scope is limited at the city council as to what our responsibilities are, but one of the things that we can do is leverage bringing in economic development that offers higher wages and businesses that focus on promoting work-life balance. We need parents to be able to raise their children again and not be focused on just being at work to make a living. And if we can support that at the city council level, we are successful in helping.
We also need to be able to know that you're going to stay around.
Ms. Smith, you have 30 seconds. Did you want to give the last word on this topic?
Mr. Johnson?
I really appreciate it. So I see that everybody, as far as getting to crime, we got to go back to the nuclear family. The nuclear family in our particular neighborhoods, in our communities, has been destroyed. And the nuclear family is the key to fixing all the issues we have with crime. It starts at home. It doesn't start with bringing and pushing more police officers into the neighborhood. It's all about getting to the nuclear family and how can we return to the nuclear family. That will help solve a lot of the crime issues. It starts at home.
Exactly.
Is your hand raised, Ms. Jensen?
Thank you. We've gone back and said, how are we going to decrease crime? It does start with our youth. And we have to give them programs of what we've all said. 10 years ago, we came out with the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council. We showed children that they had hope. We gave them opportunities. And as long as we can show children that they have an opportunity to succeed, and we get into the schools and we show them a different life than what they're living, that they think that they cannot get ahead, they will move ahead. That is the beginning. Just a little piece. Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
I don't need the mic. Quickly, it does not start with the youth. It starts with the parenting. We have parents who need to heal from their past traumas that they put onto the child. I am a survivor of child abuse, so I know. I wasn't born into crime. Like, I wasn't just out there doing whatever. I was dealing with a mother who had issues, okay, that never got taken care of. We have to, in order to fix the home, you have to fix the parents first. They are the first people we should focus on, helping the home in that way.
Can I know the next name?
Freddie de la Cruz.
Mr. De La Cruz, here's your question. So that I might understand your interest, not me, this came from Nahlee Smith. Why are you running for mayor? What is your motivation? What can you bring to the planning table? This was similar to an earlier question.
Correct. I pretty much answered that question. You know, when it comes to planning,
Mr. De La Cruz, we decided it was too similar to the other questions.
Yeah, we'll draw you a new question.
What would you do to ensure all neighborhoods, including West Fayetteville, are treated fairly and benefit equitably from city services and investments?
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up. I know the West has had it's known that PWC was charging, for public utility services. That's one thing that as the mayor, I would really like to dig into how we can save the folks who have been annexed into the city, decades ago, to help them, with, that PWC issue. Also, transportation is another issue that I'm finding out that was required in the West. So I would want to work real closely with the district in that area, the district representatives in that area, to see how we can fix the problems that they have with regard to transportation. So the transportation, and then of course, I don't know how many substations they got out there in the West area, but maybe increase the number of substations, police stations that are out there, to help mitigate the crime that we have. As the mayor, everybody knows I'm only one vote, and you'd have to work with the city district representatives and find out what are those requirements for those areas. And as the mayor, I would do my best to work with them to solve those problems that they have in those districts.
Okay, thank you.
And we've got some response, Ms. Wadell first.
Thank you, Mr. Wolverton. So again, you all know that there's a protocol as to how the council operates. And so when I'm elected Fayetteville's next mayor, there will also be 9 other people who will be elected with me, and they will be elected to represent and reflect the needs of their constituency. So if you look at my website, again, you'll see that I have a plan within the first 90 days to sit with all 9 of them to obtain and ascertain what is most important to their constituency. And as the mayor, it will be my responsibility to help cheer and collaborate across the board to get that done, regardless of any personal or political differences that we may experience.
Oh, gee, I'm trying to be so.
We got a lot of hands raised. Ms. Smith next?
Yeah, I'm trying so hard, y'all. Y'all just have no idea. Okay, so we have to understand that bringing in the police is nice, but we don't have to bring police into every sector because every district doesn't have a crime issue. We have to know what each district needs, and that means we need to talk to the residents more because we just can't say, oh, how to eradicate crime? Okay, more police. Or we need to do this or need to do that. And also the 90 days, we need to make sure that we are still there in 90 days. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Let's go straight down the line. So Mr. Mayor, will you be next?
Yes, as it relates to West Fayetteville, West Fayetteville over the last several years has experienced tremendous growth with housing and with residents. And I think now we're at the point where the city needs to start making some public dollar investments like community centers, or either some incentives for the entertainment, but it is experiencing tremendous growth. Continue to push PWC to get infrastructure not only out west, but countywide, because that is going to be the thing that is required for growing communities to have infrastructure. I talked about it in my 2050 plan, but we have to start pushing forward to planning for the future.
Mr. Johnson?
Okay, so in regards to West Fayetteville, one of the major issues that's dealing with West Fayetteville right now is the PWC expansion. You have a lot of residents that they just cannot afford to pay that $3,000. No, actually it's $5,000 for the assessment fee and $1,800 for the connection fee, and then the $9,000 to run the pipes. So I think that is one of the main issues that are dealing with Fayetteville, and as get the city council together and maybe relook that PWC expansion and maybe partner with Lumber River.
Councilwoman Jensen?
Thank you. So what I will say about West Fayetteville is what it will show to us is good schools make growth happen. Western Fayetteville is growing so fast with all new economy growing out there. We do need citywide countywide water and sewage. They are dealing with other different types of water, and if you look at it, they need more help out there because they have grown so fast because of the schools that they haven't been able to keep up with their infrastructure. Thank you.
Councilman Benavente.
Since the beginning of this year, I've gone to every single community watch in this city. Councilmember Thompson's in the audience, Councilmember may or may not be here, but they can tell you, I've been the only other council member who's not technically representing there, listening to what the community is asking for. Mr. Clifton Johnson's absolutely right. They are concerned with some of the massive fees that some people have already come to council and been given waivers for. I'd be interested in seeing what more we can do to get people connected to PwC without breaking the bank, because they've been paying taxes for a long time and not getting their due services overall this time. But we've got to be listening, and we can't just assume that the people are going to be able to come to us. We've got to meet them more than halfway.
Mrs. Wadell?
I'd like to be clear that, and to her credit, both Councilwoman Jensen and I have been at some of these meetings in West Fayetteville as well, so we are also speaking with the constituency. And I want to also be clear that it's been 20 years that Western Fayetteville has been annexed into the city of Fayetteville, and so when we speak about it like it's a new concern, that's a little disingenuous to this community.
Let's we'll draw the next question. We're going to be hitting intermission pretty after this question.
Yes.
We're going to have intermission. Mr. Williams.
As mayor, how would you determine what is the priority to improve our community safety and living conditions?
As mayor, with priority. As mayor, how would I determine what is the priority to improve our community safety and living conditions? As a candidate running for mayor, I see the biggest detriment we have is what we're doing economically. Our city government has enacted something called the UDO and other ordinances. I'm sure they had good meaning, but they've had very negative effects. In the past 10 years, we're not actually having any population increase. Each day, we're losing more people than we're gaining. People move to Fayetteville, away from Fayetteville, for two main reasons: job and family. As a mayor of Fayetteville, first thing I would want to do is unleash the entrepreneurial spirit so that business owners can invest in their property without interference and questions and problems from the government. City government, as mayor, I would make sure that we're doing all we can to provide them basic infrastructure so we're business friendly. Right now, this town's not considered business friendly. The rules and regulations they enacted cost businesses tremendous amounts of money. The low-income business owners that are starting up who don't have as much resources are going to find it harder to meet those requirements from the city, so they don't do business here as much. The surrounding counties are growing to double digits. Why are they growing while we're not? I contend it is too much city government. It's not the individuals and it's not the businesses to blame here. It is government. And I believe I'm the only one running for mayor that believes the individuals and the property owners are going to be key, that they have that freedom to be able to do what they believe is best for their interests so they can prosper. If not, then they're not going to be willing to invest in this community. Thank you.
Got a lot of hands up? Okay, we'll work our way down the line. Oh, I was going to give him a chance to reply before the intermission. We will do it right after the intermission for your all chance to follow up.
Thank you, guys. We will be taking a 10-minute intermission. Stretch your legs. We will be accepting more questions. If we do run out, we will be going through the crowd with the microphone. Please have them ready. Thank you very much.
Council member is getting specific data from valuable and specified sources in order to know exactly what's needed. And then as they're doing that and as they're going out and interfacing with their community, they need to bring that information back to the table. And as the next mayor, it's my responsibility to hear what they're bringing back so that we can make decisions based upon tangible evidence and based upon verified resources so that we can have very sharp policy to support these communities. So very succinctly, listening to the city council members as they're interfacing with their districts.
Thank you.
Next, who would like to answer for 30 seconds?
Yes, when it comes to public safety, I've got by far the most experience. I got 28 years of law enforcement experience, And one of the things I would definitely do would be work very closely with our new chief of police to ensure that he's getting the support that he needs to mitigate crime and reduce crime. And so that's one thing I would do, make sure that I work closely with the chief of police and make sure the council support what he needs to fight the crime in Fayetteville.
Ms. Smith?
Can you read the question for me again, please?
Yeah, I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
As mayor, how would you determine what is the priority to improve our community's safety and living conditions?
Okay, well, I would definitely, by observation, number one, I would not be just sitting behind a desk. I would be out and about in the field with the people. We definitely, as far as the council, we can discuss those things, but I would rather go out to the people, into the environments, and see how people are, thriving or trying to thrive, and get firsthand information from them, and we can discuss that back with the council later. They had that on the contingency plan, but it's not operable right now. I would fill the people first.
Go ahead, Ms. Ray.
And if I understood the question correctly, it was how do you prioritize safety and livability?
Conditions, yeah.
Living
Improve our community.
So again, like with any of these policy decisions, you have to address systemic and symptoms. And what I mean by that is economically, we have to be an area that provides jobs and economic opportunity, which will deal with a lot of the symptoms. We hire professionals. Our Office of Community Safety Director is a professional. Our police chief's a professional. We have to take their recommendations as we continue to create the policy and fund it, which is our role with policy and budget.
Mr. Johnson.
All right, so as mayor, priorities, so I would take the priorities and take them and base them on SMART initiatives. So you take those priorities and take two SMART initiatives, so they're going to be based on specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant time-based decisions. And then we move that over to taking the Unified Development Ordinance that we have here in Fayetteville, bring that to the City Council, and see if we can redo that. And that'll help push the economic, and economic will help with better living conditions and reduce the crime.
Mrs. Jensen.
Thank you. So what we have spent in our budget for public safety is about $140 million. And when we talk about public safety, we talk about police, we talk about fire, we talk about 911, we talk about our OCS, and all that coming together. So all of that comes together with economic development. And just not to say safety, you can go down to public safety is picking up our trash every day so that we don't get sick. So it's a big range of things.
Mr. Benavente, did you want to reply?
Yes. So there's a lot of people in this audience who should be very excited that both Mayor Colvin and Mayor Jensen are talking about OCS so proudly now. We know that the police chief that we had most recently spelled it out very plainly. If you can help law enforcement by taking off of their plate issues of folks dealing with mental health crisis, issues of folks dealing with addiction, and issues of folks dealing with abject poverty, they'll be very, very happy campers. And that's what Office of Community Safety does. It addresses those issues in a way that truly, sustainably helps those folks before we just try to arrest our way out of
Okay.
issues.
Thank you. And
Ms. Jensen and then Mr. Colvin.
Thank you. Just a quick rebuttal to that, as Councilmember Benavente says that, no, you did not say thank you, and you are welcome.
Mr. Colvin?
Again, actions speak louder than words. He voted against funding OCS. He voted against jobs. So how do you fix a problem when you defund both things that you say are the
No, that's a pretty important one. There's gotta be
the solutions? It's in the voting record.
So there's a lot of conservatives who do this, right? They will say that you voted against teacher pay raises because you didn't accept their limited pay raise in the budget. So they say, oh my gosh, all of these Democrats, they voted against teacher raises, when really they voted against a budget that only gave nominal raises, that they wanted to see greater investment in the right direction. So you can hear a cheap shot like that from Mayor Colvin, but I think in reality, if you look at the vote, and the reason I voted against it, it was because I didn't want to raise the people's taxes in a year when we should have gone revenue neutral, because property taxes have gone out,
all right.
way out of balance.
Are we ready to give, if Ms. Jensen and Mr. Colvin would like to further respond. We'll give them each 15 seconds.
Only need 15.
Okay, go ahead.
It's in the record. Voting against jobs had nothing to do with the taxes.
Ms. Jensen.
So when you brought the OCS to us, it was voted down 4 times. You and I had a conversation. I brought you 6 votes, you lost 1. So when you sit here and say that we are not for it, we were never for it, we brought it to fruition and we brought it to the finish line.
Okay, we're going to move to the next question.
Okay, Mrs. Wadell.
Would you please remind myself in the audience of the question so that I can make sure that I remain?
We will be moving over here for the next one.
As
Mr.
mayor,
Harris.
how would you
Mr.
determine
Harris.
what is the priority to improve our community safety and living conditions?
Thank you so much. I want to remind everybody as we hear the dialogue going on at the table that there are issues that happen in our community that the city council does not address in and of itself. So when we talk about public safety and you think about what just happened in Charlotte, when you have a man whose family stood up and said he is mentally insane and unstable and he needed help, but there was nowhere for him to get it. And so if the city council continues to have these conversations in a vacuum, we can talk about what we would do, but if we don't collaborate across the board and require our partners to do something with us, then it still doesn't change the trajectory for our community.
Mr. De La Cruz, you could
Well,
tell us.
with regards to the Office of Community Safety, I think it's a great idea. I just think it would be a better fit under the county, under a shared 9/11 center.
Okay, so that was the last one. We have to move on.
We're going to now give Miss Lauren Davidson a chance to ask a question. Each candidate will get 30 seconds to respond, and then we'll move back to the moderators.
How do you define human rights, and how will you make sure kids and teens grow up in a community that values them?
Sorry, can you read that again, please, and make sure you go slower and enunciate each word. It was hard to understand.
How do you define human rights, and how will you make sure kids and teens grow up in a community that values them? Mario.
The 3 things that every citizen in this community needs is secure housing, secure job, and secure childcare. And when you address those 3 things, issues like gun violence plummet in cities that they focus their investments on those issues. That's why I've submitted legislation in particular to support those children that are most at risk, those young people at Howard Learning Academy, the alternative middle school. It's election year, and so I'm glad that I've got a lot more support than I typically do when it comes to issues like this, where we're going to try and give them after-school programming, give their parents more resources, because those are the ways that...
And thank you, time.
We're just going to go down the road. This way.
Thank you. In the subject of human rights, especially for our children, you know, we all want our children to grow up and have opportunity and have hope, but a lot of children don't have that in their homes. So the only way that we can get to people is through the school system and through child care. We have not enough child care in here, and it will go back to poverty, that people cannot go to work because they cannot find affordable child care. We as a city have been working on that. I do agree that the after-school programs are lacking.
Mr. Johnson?
So, in regards to human rights that we got to start off with simply, you treat people with dignity and respect. And when you start with treating people with dignity and respect, everything else goes from there. We can deal with bringing those opportunities to school, improving our schools, giving opportunities to families that need, but also improving the school systems, where it be using technology, using innovation, and getting programs out there that would ensure that our youth are able to grow up and be prosperous. And that, in a sense, is what they need.
Mayor.
All right, thank you for the question. I think we need to continue to work with our school board. I see 2 of the members here expanding our CTE programs to catch these kids in the 8th grade and up, to give them a pathway for success. We have to get jobs into these communities, and we have to invest and incentivize investment for their parents to have stable homes, so that the income levels are there. And then finally, they deserve safety. Every community deserves safety. People often define what our community should be like, and they spend no time in it. And so we have to make sure that every community is safe, along with economic opportunity for these kids.
Ms. Smith?
Please read the question again.
I can't, I don't have it.
Oh, you don't, oh, I'm sorry, the young lady.
What is your definition of human rights, and how will you help teens protect them?
What is the definition of human rights? Okay, I would definitely say freedom. That's something that we seem to struggle with. I know that they, as far as with the teens, they deserve to be safe, feel safe, and that starts at home once again. I'm always going to revert back to home because that is the driving force. You have to build the home up first. That's the manufacturing area. The home starts with the parents. Once you get the parents together, they're able to focus on the children, and that's what helps the children feel safe. I guess timing is a little hard for me to explain, but I'm doing the best I can, y'all. Hope you understand. Yeah, I know it's good.
Mr. De La Cruz?
So the question is human rights and teens.
Yes, what is your definition of human rights, and how that relates to teens?
Well, truthfully, human rights, I don't realize that this was really an issue, the human rights with teens, other than, where kids are kidnapped for slave trade. But one thing for sure, I would do is, I lost my train of thought, well, it goes back to the curfew. That's what I was thinking. The reason why I didn't agree with the curfew is simply because of that. I think that the curfew would violate the rights of teens that are.
You ready for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So I point to the Word of God, the Bible, as how I define human rights. And I speak very clearly in my perception that in order to make sure that not only young people, but all people understand what that looks like, we do have to go back to the golden rule. We have to begin to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And I think that if we live according to that standard, then we would see a lot of the things that are happening across the board begin to diminish. So I point to the Word of God, I point to the Bible as my example, and that's my baseline, so that's my answer.
I agree.
Mr. Williams?
For me, it's pretty simple. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Most 12-year-olds will tell you when life begins, and that's when it should be protected. Liberty, we take it for granted many times because it's not you directly. When it does affect you, you look to your left and look to your right, you find you're all home. So it's very hard to fight for those liberties. These are individual liberties that, as Ms. Wadell had indicated, God-given. The pursuit of happiness. One of the 5 items I've got is prohibition of nuisance. My time is up.
All right, we're going to draw the next name. Mr. Johnson?
Will you advocate for grants or funding that specifically go to homeowner and resident improvements like neighborhood beautification, sidewalks, and streets?
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Yeah. Will you advocate for grants or funding that specifically go to homeowner and resident improvements like neighborhood beautification, sidewalks, and streets?
Absolutely, I will be an advocate for that funding. Just to piggyback on what you said in regards to just the beautification. You funds for beautification, think about when people are in their neighborhoods and their neighborhoods are receiving funding to where the rundown neighborhoods are being revitalized. That in itself helps with just a brighter day. You come in, your neighborhood doesn't look run down. If we advocate, we have those funds to improve those neighborhoods, then people in those neighborhoods will want to move in those neighborhoods. The people that were actually leaving our city will want to stay in the city if we bring the funding to the city to start improving, modernizing the infrastructure. And then we can keep our citizens. And as people graduate from this prestigious university that we're in right now, they want to stay versus leaving if we use those funds to improve those neighborhoods.
Mrs. Wadell has to go next.
Thank you. As a district representative, that was my priority and my focus, infrastructure investment. And if you come to District 3, you will see that we were very successful as a community, as a district, in advocating for those sidewalks and those investments because we've had a lot of movement in that regard. Additionally, I do want to say that I think that when we look at, that time clock throws me off every time. But that's okay. When we look at this question, it's very important for us to also understand that this advocacy is across the board. You've got to be able to get collaboration from your council members. And so the answer to the question is accurate.
Ms. Smith?
Repeat the question for me, please, so I can hear it.
Will you advocate for grants or funding that specifically go to homeowner and residential improvements like neighborhood beautification, sidewalks, and streets?
Okay, so what I definitely would advocate for, but what we need to do is get the money we already have that's in little hidden pockets. We don't need to keep begging for more money. We should use the money that we have that is being allocated in the wrong places to target those areas. But we also should teach the citizens on how to take care of their things for themselves, so we don't have to keep wasting money on things we can do for our own selves. We don't need the city or the county to tell us to take the garbage out and get oil.
Anyone else who would like to have 30 seconds on this one? Ms. Jensen? Go ahead, Ms. Jensen, and then Mr. Colvin.
So, yes, I would advocate, I have advocated, and we do have grants for homeowners, and we do have grants for HOAs for beautification for the neighborhoods, and we did do a bond for sidewalks, and we have just passed our pedestrian plan for sidewalks in neighborhoods all through the city. So, yes, absolutely.
And Mr. Colvin?
Thank you for that. We've built a very robust plan under my administration to where we've put over $500,000 out in the hands of community watches, community programs for doorbell cameras, home improvement, signage. And we're seeing a resurgence in the impact of these policies right here on Jasper Street. New construction for the first time in the last 40 years in a community that hadn't had it. So it's working, and the community pride is uplifting.
Mr. Benavente?
You can always count on Mayor Colvin, Mayor Pro Tem, to say what we're already doing, but I want to introduce a new concept to y'all. This concept of a community home trust. So there's many neighborhoods that are fearing gentrification, that families who their children and their grandchildren do not want to stick around, and the corporate landlords want to come buy up these properties and change the complete character and nature of the community. In other cities, these communities have come together, purchased the houses within their own neighborhoods, and run them as nonprofits, not to become rich, but to have affordable housing for the kinds of communities that they would want to continue throughout the city.
Thank you, time. You got everybody?
I just need 15 seconds, if possible.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I just want to thank former Councilwoman Shaquilla Ingram, because she was the first person that I heard about a community land trust from. And it was unfortunate because we were not able to get a lot of traction during her administration for something like that. But she certainly brought that to the table, and it was an excellent idea. And hopefully, as your next mayor, I will be able to help move some of those ideas forward.
Yes, I am for the grants as well, and for streets and sidewalks, especially if we're being fiscally responsible with spending those dollars.
Let's go to the next person.
Kathy Jensen.
How do you plan to address the ongoing concern for substance use, or I guess abuse, and mental illness within our city, given the recent changes in Medicaid coverage?
Thank you for that question. So we do have a settlement for the opioid settlements that is coming through that I feel that we need to put that through the schools to help with our children. But I will give you another idea that I personally have been working on. A lot of the mental health and substance abuse comes from us being the largest neighbor to the largest military installation in the world. So we have to partner with Fort Bragg, which we have become a very good neighbor to them and have done lots of work with them and collaboration with them. We do not have enough health care providers here in Fayetteville. We do not have enough mental health counselors. The base does not have enough mental health counselors, so they're putting them out on the economy, which leaves our residents with no mental health counselors and waiting months, sometimes years, to get the help that they need. We have to address that, and the only way that we can address that is we need to partner with them. The way these cuts are going, the only thing that we have that most people don't have
is we are the largest neighbor to the largest military installation in the world, and we need to feed on that when we go up to DC, because we are taking care of our soldiers, and the people that are taking care of the soldiers in everyday life are our residents, that are our police officers.
Mr. Benavente?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think it's Fort Bragg's fault. I think we've got issues when it comes to this regardless. I've talked with Professor Kennedy here at Fayetteville State, who's in charge of the social work department. I've talked with Professor, we can incentivize and invigorate the social work students here at Fayetteville State University to want to become a part of a larger project with the Office of Community Safety, to where we staff social workers within the city, so that when we call 911, if your situation, a law has not been broken, no one's been hurt.
Thank you, in time. Mr. Colvin?
Thank you. I think the best way forward, so that this is not a go alone, is to continue the collaborative partnerships with the hospital and with the county. We have the tightest relationship that we've had to address community problems like this, like substance abuse, and they have the infrastructure and capacity, and the city can serve as a partner to that.
Anyone further? Yes, sir. Mr. Williams?
Whenever we have more people leaving Fayetteville than coming in, we've got more serious problems than what we're talking about. We need to be talking about how to scale everything down. In 10 years, if we don't have population increase, but more people leaving than coming in, really, we talking the bus system, sidewalks, and everything else, really need to talk about scaling it all down, because there ain't but so much money you can get out of this community. That's what forced annexation did. It took a lot of money out of West Fayetteville. We got 4 dams that were washed out from the storm 10 years ago. They're not getting any attention from the city other than legal help from attorneys out of Raleigh, because people in that area are suing. They're suing the city of Fayetteville.
Ms. Wadell, did you want to?
I was going to say something. It was more about Fort Bragg. I do want to point to the fact, to Mr. Williams' credit, that we are hemorrhaging the growth from Fort Bragg. It is beginning to move toward Moore County, Harnett County, and the Spring Lake area. And we need to ask ourselves why that is. Why our nation's largest installation is not investing more into our community than they have heretofore. I listened to a recent RULAC meeting, and there are some very strong reasons for that. I'd be happy to share if you'd like to talk to me about it later, but we need to understand why we are not growing. It is very important to understand that.
Ms. Smith?
Starts at the head. Less dedication. I mean, people are paying attention. They're not slow. Like, people are really paying attention to what's going on in government and what's going on around them. The government, we just needs to be more accountability, and people need to be more committed. If they will stay more committed, then maybe the citizens will be more committed.
I'm going to move on to the next person.
Mitch Colvin?
This was kind of a long one. Fayetteville's schools are facing challenges with resources and equity. As mayor, how would you work with Cumberland County Schools and local organizations to support teachers, students, and families beyond what the school board already does?
I think it's a great question. Again, we have had one of the best relationships over the last several years with our school leadership. We're doing our planning together. We took a trip to Durham to look at the Made in Durham model, which shows the K-12 connection to the rest of the city and the community. And we'll continue to do those things that support it, because these are our citizens as well. And so what I would do is continue to make sure that our teachers are bought into this community with our home ownership program that was expanded to them. It's been a great resource for teachers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers to buy homes and become homeowners in our community that make them a part of our community and a part of the solution. So continue to work with the school board in our collaboration along with the other partners.
Anyone else on the panel who would like to address?
Mr. Benavente?
The benefit of being on council now is that we don't have to just promise you that I'm going to do something once I'm mayor. I'm able to do things right now. And just 2 weeks ago, I submitted legislation in conjunction with my co-sponsor, Mr. Malik Davis, to do additional after-school programming at Massey Hill Rec Center right next to Howard Learning Academy. Because we have seen that the data shows when you hyper-focus on that age group, you are preventing what will be maybe young adults who end up in the criminal justice system. Those that have already been put out of regular school and put into alternative school, those are the ones who need our help right now.
Ms. Jensen?
Thank you. So So as a mother of 4 children that went through Cumberland County Public Schools, I would say that the city with our Parks and Rec all my children went to after school care with Parks and Rec, and I'm glad that we are able to expand it. But when I was on that trip that we went to see the Durham model, and I want everybody to understand when we were talking to them about the Durham model, they might have done some things better than us, but we've done a lot of things better than them. And with our relationship with FTCC is a game changer.
Thank you. So we're going to go on to Ms. Wadell, then Ms. Smith, and then we'll...
Thank you so much. I've got a mom of 4. I want you to think about her. She's a mom of 4. She's a single mom, and she has to work 3 jobs in order to take care of her children. That means that she doesn't have much time to go to school and be involved with what they've got going on. At the city, we need to address economic development that pays better wages, that allows and affords people to be in touch and in tune and raise their children. That is how we can support the school board, by making sure parents have the economic capacity to be able to parent their children and be involved in the schools.
Ms. Smith?
Okay, thank you. We definitely have to work together with the school board, but it needs to be collective. The school board needs to allow parents to have more involvement with their children in the school system. That is missing. I also would like to say, as far as the Parks and Recs part, they need to not charge people for using that facility when it's supposed to be a community-based entity. People who live in those communities should be able to take advantage of the rec center without having to pay for it. That you might be able to have more, activities and stuff going on with that.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
So, thanks for asking the question. I literally just got text messages from people that I've been working with, and it's, how can we break ground on E. Smith? So as mayor, work with the commissioners, work with city council, and let's see if we can't start and break ground and start building E. Smith.
Draw the next name.
Paul Williams.
What are your plans to work with other city leaders to combat homelessness and to bring higher paying jobs and affordable housing?
Well, with the homelessness, we gotta be careful. We don't want to attract homeless people like we do business. If we attract the business community through less rules, regulations, and taxation, the homeless would be less among us. That's going to come from capitalism. Socialism is going to be when we continue to take away from these people in our community to fund these things that we like to with other people's money. That's going to continue to harm us. So as far as being able to help out with jobs, that's going to be key. It's not going to be government. Government's not the key to creating jobs. The best thing we can do as a government is provide sound law enforcement, infrastructure, and let the businesses have at it. Once they're prospering and thriving, everything else is going to fall into place. But if we don't have a good business community, if we aren't hiring, if we're losing population, everything else is off the table. I mean, we're just going to be spinning wheels.
Anyone else would like to offer 30 seconds?
Yes, with regard to homeless housing and jobs, I definitely would work with the county commissioners and see what their vision is to help with this, to solve this problem, and leverage the assets that we have in the city. Our transportation is one thing I would leverage to help with this problem, but also work with the community colleges, FTCC, to help, some of these people who are looking to improve their job situation, get them into programs that will help them get better paying jobs, i.e. plumbing, electrician, or HVAC, those type of jobs.
Thank you. We'll have Mr. Colvin, then Ms. Smith.
Can you repeat the question, because it was kind of a lengthy question?
So what are your plans to work with other city leaders to combat homelessness and to bring higher paying jobs and affordable housing?
So, unpack that real quickly. Collaboration with the county. We have a role to play in transitional housing. We can fund things like the Salvation Army while the new county facility is being planned and built, I think, for homelessness, and continue to support the resource center as well as some of the nonprofits who are in that space. As it relates to jobs, Build an economic pipeline. We found our identity between defense and healthcare, and we need to build a pipeline like we've seen and we've already started working on, which collaborates with the CTE program through counties K through 12, FTCC, and then an end user with a job.
Ms. Smith?
Okay. Repeat it one more time, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. What are your plans to work with other city leaders to combat homelessness, to bring higher paying jobs, and to bring affordable housing?
Okay, so that, yes, obviously that's to work with the county on this. It's all about working together, no matter how you put it. But the first thing we gotta understand is that the unhoused plays a big part in it as well. Where everybody's fighting to help the unhoused, but is the unhoused fighting to help the unhoused? And working with them personally, that's an issue. They're not even, they hit their backs against the wall so much, they're not even, in it either. So you can't fight for somebody that's not willing to fight for themselves. We have to get in the mindset of the people and help them understand that they need to fight for themselves first before you can collaborate.
Okay, we're going to move to Ms. Jensen.
So that's a lot to unpack, so I'm going to go with attainable housing on that issue. So we do not have a lot of attainable housing here in Fayetteville for people that are working. So with that being said, we need to look into our UDO and see about density and our planning and our zoning. We need to grow like other cities are growing. Thank you.
Go to Ms. Wadell, then to Mr. Benavente.
Thank you. When you talk about affordable housing, sometimes people's mind automatically goes to low-income housing. I think when we think about affordable housing, we should think about raising the earning capacity of our citizens so that they can afford the housing in the community. We're all seeing housing go up, but we're also seeing the cost of that housing go up while incomes are remaining stagnated. And so again, we need economic development policies that incentivize high-paying wages that support the growth and the extension of our family units so that they can afford to live in this community.
Mr. Benavente?
These three issues are very much interrelated. I think the biggest way that we can impact this is by having a new emphasis on our young professionals and our new professionals who are going to expand the tax base here in Fayetteville. We cannot keep relying on simply raising property tax rates on everyone to afford, to be able to work on issues of homelessness and jobs and housing. We need to vary our tax base to keep and recruit and retain our young professionals here in the city. Between Fayetteville State, FUCC, and Methodist, we've got all these great ingredients that if we keep them here, they bring the jobs here, and then we can do more for homelessness and housing here.
I'm going to move to the next person.
So Ms. Smith?
Okay, Ms. Smith, your question is, how will you combat, never mind, same question.
Yes.
What's your plan for starting small-scale, community-friendly projects like rustic camping or walking trails to get river development moving? So this is really about developing along the river. This is about developing along the river, like a lot of the river communities have done. What's your plan for starting small-scale, community-friendly projects like rustic camping or walking trails to get river development moving?
Oh, I mean, just introduce it to different people. You can start groups. You can start hiking groups and, little discovery things. You can also take the children and make, the lesson outside. Introduce people get them out, unplugged from the TV and from the, the video games and stuff, and create groups, small groups within each district that does hiking trails and teach them about that.
Okay, Ms. Wadell?
So the Fayetteville City Council is a policy board. We need policies that incentivize public-private partnerships that get people to want to develop along our river walk. We've already got an extensive trail. We just need policies that encourage some development along it. If you think about San Antonio, most of us who have been on council have at some point traveled to San Antonio for a business. And when you think about their river walk, there are businesses along that river walk that really they serve as a catalyst for bringing people into the community. Very quickly, tourism is one of the biggest booming industries in our community, and we're not leveraging in North Carolina, and we're not leveraging that here in Fayetteville.
We're going to move to Mr. Colvin and then Ms. Jensen.
We've completed our trail, which brought it down there. We have $1.5 million allocated to leveling the banks and incentivizing development along the river. And I think we have to continue to explore that. In addition to that, we need to create a TIF, which is creating an area around it to where the city can put seed money in for development by creating a special investment zone like Atlanta did, or also San Antonio, or Greenville, South Carolina was very successful at that. So some of those plans I've introduced, but we'll continue to build it out. But it's a long-term plan.
Excuse me, when you said TIF, you mean tax increment financing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give me a one-sentence definition of that so people know what you're talking about.
So basically what it is that you create a target area, can be in and around the river. You create a future tax base to what it will look like once the investment is there, and then the city's able to leverage those dollars to then incentivize it to come to fruition.
Okay, Ms. Jensen?
So to piggyback off that a little bit, you know, over there at the river, where the river trail is and where our river is, if you were going to build houses there, you need to build them basically like you build at the beach. So we have looked at areas that have done this in other parts of the nation that build these new modern houses. And as we talk about the youth that is 40 and under, that we want them to come live here, those are the kind of spaces that could bring people here to live and start their family.
Mr. Benavente?
So the city of Fayetteville has already taken out a bond to do a river park across the river for those residents over there. Unfortunately, before I was on city council, folks had taken money out of that bond project and stiffed those citizens from an investment that they long deserved. So once I'm on council, I know that we can help organize those communities so they can get the investment that they are long overdue, because too often our folks across the river having projects taken from them and put in other parts of the city that benefit other council members.
Yes, as your mayor, one of the first things I like to do is a pause on on these additional spending until we complete the projects that we've already started. The Riverwalk, the sidewalks, the tennis court, the fire station, the unfinished parking lot. Those sort of things we need to focus. The market house now, as you see, they're working on that as well. Let's stop with the great ideas. Let's focus on what we got on the table. Let the staff and the city manager focus on those projects. And until we get a grasp of all that, then we can look at what we want to do in the future.
Ms. Smith, did you want to say something?
I was just asking if we can ask a question. That's all.
Oh, that's part of the platform.
No, I just want to.
Maybe something toward the end. Thank you. Ms. Wadell?
I believe that as public officials, we ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And so we should be able to continue to develop while cleaning up the mess that is before us. If we don't have the capacity to do that, then we may need to rethink our journey to become the mayor. I do want to also say that I really appreciate Mr. Benavente for bringing up the citizens east of the river who have been long neglected. That fund has been treated like a checking account very often to go to other projects. So I'm very grateful that he did bring that up.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes, as far as the river goes, I've often thought about it'd be nice to have a generating dam located somewhere near the city of Fayetteville, possibly to flood a portion of downtown, not accidentally, but on purpose, and then make that a river walk as we were talking about. The government, city of Fayetteville needs to be careful about getting into too much other than what basically we expect from government, because they can't hardly do that. Anything more than basic law enforcement and infrastructure, you're really asking for trouble.
Let's draw the next name.
Kathy Jensen. What is your effort to stop the flooding of Ramsey Street and Fayetteville?
Okay, are we talking about the lower end of Ramsey Street, or are we talking about under?
This was submitted by someone who stopped here today. I know that portions of Ramsey Street do occasionally flood, but
So I guess I'm taken back a little bit because Ramsey Street is my district, and from the way back up, if we are talking about the flooding underneath the bridge, I know that we have done a lot of work, and I know that I have been here and it's not flooding like it has been flooding. I mean, I remember when it was flooding feet and we went in and did work about 6 years ago. So if I understood where the problem was that they're talking about, I can address it a little bit better. But I'm not aware, is what I'm saying. And I drive that road every day.
I will do Mr. Benavente, then Ms. Wadell.
What we're really just talking about is stormwater improvements, whether it's Ramsey Street flooding, whether it's Echo Park's flooding. There's a lot of infrastructure that back in the day, there was no environmental requirement to have storm drains. And so a lot of older neighborhoods are missing out on really basic infrastructure that the city needs to invest in. So until we make a commitment to those communities, those historic communities with longstanding community members that deserve to be invested in, we're going to continue to fail folks. And of course, this has an impact on their housing. I've seen people's houses literally being ripped apart at the seams and their driveways coming apart because of the constant flooding and lack of stormwater.
Thank you, Ms. Wadell.
I think one of the questions that we as a community have of our leadership is, why do our stormwater fees keep going up and we don't see an investment of that fee into our community? At least that's one of the things that I keep hearing from community watch groups when I'm out talking to people. And so I think we deserve to get an answer to that question. I've been gone from council for about 4 years now, but if my time on council serves as an indicator, it's because of the politicization of these conversations. And we've got to get to a point where we begin to recognize that these are health and human issues and they should not be overly politicized.
Thank you, Ms. Jensen. We'll come back to you afterwards. Go ahead, Ms. Jensen.
So I just wanted to explain my answer. When we were talking about Ramsey Street, we're talking about DOT roads. When we're talking about stormwater, I think that everybody should know that Fayetteville has the only stormwater department in North Carolina. So we are working on stormwater. We are working on infrastructure. So as we say about our neighborhoods, and when new development comes up, Councilmember Benavente is right. And yes, I said, he's right. We do need to we are looking into stormwater.
Mr. De La Cruz.
Although I understand the city is working on the water flooding problem we have in Fayetteville, one of the things I would look into is reopening the dams of the lakes that dried up to help mitigate against a lot of this water, to give it a place to go to. And I think by opening up the lakes that have been washed out as a result of the hurricane would be very helpful with helping the problem that we got with flooding in Fayetteville.
All right, we'll draw the next name. Have Clifton Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, how well do you think Fayetteville currently supports veterans, seniors, and low-income residents, and what improvements would you pursue?
Can you repeat just the first part?
I will. How well do you think Fayetteville currently supports veterans, senior citizens, and low-income residents, and what improvements would you pursue?
Okay, so first I'll start out with the veterans. So Fayetteville does have veteran services available to their veteran. I think that there needs to be a better means of communicating and allowing the veterans to understand where to go to receive those services. But they do provide those support and have those services available to veterans. And for senior services, we need to invest more into taking care of our seniors, especially with a lot of the benefits that have been cut at higher levels of government. We do need to sit down as a council and come up with a plan to better serve our senior citizens.
Mr. Benavente.
So back in May, I visited with the Veterans of Foreign Wars and their headquarters that's now located here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Surprisingly, they were in Raleigh up until literally this year. My father is a veteran. Fort Bragg is what brought our family here, and that's the story of so many citizens here in Fayetteville. When we talk about what are we doing to make sure that the city, which has a great reputation for being a retirement town, continues to keep that reputation, is something that I think should be the focus of the next mayor of Fayetteville. But of course, as a city, we can be even more than just a retirement town for all of the children and grandchildren of those veterans.
Anyone else select Mr. McCollum?
Yeah, I think that we have a great community for veterans. I worked a lot with the VFW, was at a Purple Heart event not long ago, and we can never repay them for the sacrifices. In terms of our seniors, we have invested in our seniors. They're a very important part of our community. A lot of them cross over into that low-income strategy. I think we have to have more senior housing complexes like other communities have that are specifically for the 55 and up. And I think that we need to continue to build amenities out like Senior East and West. We need to duplicate that again.
Well, Ms. Wadell, then we'll do Mr. Wadell, then Mr. David Cruz.
Thank you. So I'm the daughter of a veteran. My mother is here in the front row. I'm also the wife of a veteran. My husband is on the left side. And so I do understand what our veterans are asking for because I hear it in my home and at my mama's house. And they would love for us to become a community where we are really releasing them of some of these tax obligations. For example, their home taxes, homeowners taxes. But that's something we've got to work with other agencies on. Where our seniors are concerned, many of them own their homes and they own them outright. And so we have to begin communicating with them about these tax increases that they're seeing so that we can help mitigate some of the losses that we expect to come as a result.
Okay. Mr. David Cruz?
Well, as a veteran, I do help veterans with their disability rating. I think we need to help the organizations that actually help veterans. With regard to senior citizens, I agree. We need to lower the taxes for the senior citizens. And for low income, the priority would be housing and transportation. As a father of 6 and 15 grandkids, I understand the struggles that people have families have with housing and transportation.
Ms. Smith?
I worked with a lot of at the Day Resource Center, so they do know where to come. The Fayetteville Cares Day Resource Center has, they do have, we call it veteran services, and there are other programs that also have veteran services, so they are used to it. What they need is more shelters. Through the county and the city have to come in together and help get a shelter going, not 2 years from now, because people are out in cold now. We need now. It's hard to tell somebody 75 years old that we can't place you.
All right, we'll draw the next name. This likely will put us at 5 o'clock, so we'll go through the course of that question. Oh, did you want to respond? Ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about veterans and health care. The issue that I see that a lot of veterans have is there's not a capacity for health care. So if you are under the VA system and you need an operation, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be moved up to Raleigh or Greensboro. I've seen it personally, and I will say to you that you go there. My husband's a little bit older than I am, had an operation. They left us. They told us, you have to go home now at 6 o'clock, leaving in Raleigh traffic. Not good, not good, and there was no one in Fayetteville that could take care of him. Thank you.
This will be the last question, and then when we move to closing statements, they will be 60 seconds.
Okay. So, Mr. Benavente?
How do you plan to integrate environmental concerns like sustainability or green space preservation into economic development strategies? What systems will you put in place so residents have a real voice in decisions, not just town halls after plans are already made?
So a lot of citizens will know, if you watch the city council meetings, I'm always the first one to say, when the public forum happens, we extend the time period. Because we only let 10 people speak at any given time. But more often than not, we have very little on the agenda, and for people to come out of their houses, come down to City Hall, and sit around and wait for a chance to speak, they deserve to be heard. That's not something that is always, something supported, unfortunately. But we do need to make sure that citizens have their say by meeting people where they're at. People use the word transparency a lot in politics. I like the word apparency. It's not enough for me to say it's somewhere on the website, go look for it. I need to make it apparent to you what the city council is doing. That's why I go to every single one of my community watches, and when I made the decision with the support of my City Council District 3 to run for mayor, we've been going to every single community watch across the entire city. Whether or not some of the city council members were excited about that fact because they knew what that meant. They knew that meant that we were organizing to make a case to the citizens of Fayetteville that we were ready to take the city to the next level. We were ready to hear and incorporate the words of our community members at a level that has never been done before. Unfortunately, a lot with our city council members is that they've got their friends already. They've got the people that they listen to already. And if you're not already in the in circle, you're not going to be heard. I'm a potentially new mayor who is here to listen and here to develop new relationships. So if you want to get on the ground floor of the city of Fayetteville and the next level we're taking it to, this is the time that we need new leadership here in the city of Fayetteville.
Anyone else like to have Ms. Wadell?
Thank you, Mr. Wolverton. We need voter summaries. So every time we take a major vote, there should be a summarization of that vote that's put on an outward-facing dashboard that is easily accessible. City council meetings run upwards of 4 hours. The people who are in the meetings rarely want to be in there for 4 hours, much less have you, the citizens, watch a 4-hour meeting just to try and figure out what we did and why we did it. We owe you an answer, and we can give you that answer by summarizing our vote and making that accessible so you can know how we voted, why we voted, and what the next steps are. And as your next mayor, I'll advocate for that.
Ms. Smith?
Okay, this is my question again. I don't know where they went.
What systems will you put in place so residents have a real voice in decisions, not just town halls after plans are already made?
Okay, I'm out in the streets. I'm out there with y'all. I'm out there. We do a lot of talking here. It's a lot of meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. I'm out there. I'm talking. I'm at the businesses. I'm out in the street with you at the laundry, whatever we do. I'm out with the people. I meet them where they are. If they tell me what the issue is, I go back. I was doing that before I even thought about running. I'm out there with the people for the people. You have to get out there. Just go out there. Just go.
Anyone else would like to? All right. So next is closing statements, 60 seconds each.
We'll start with Paul Williams and then work our way down, ending with Mario Benavente. 60 seconds, sir.
My name is Paul Williams. I've been in this community all my life. I grew up in Lafayette Village. We had a dirt road. We had power lines that you could see. We had no sidewalks. We had no concrete curves. We didn't have no green space. Point is, my dad worked at Kmart. My mom did not work. She stayed home and took care of 9 boys. We were not on any government assistance. He was able to afford a house in Lafayette Village. But today, the rules and regulations have caused development costs to go up so much that it's now become unpractical to buy a home in Fayetteville. You're better off buying one in the surrounding counties. That is the explanation for growth. But yet nobody wants to hear it because they want all these rules and regulations placed on the developer. But the developer has to sell it. We're a low-income community. We need to do all we can to keep those costs down. When we don't, expect them to continue to go to surrounding counties. Thank you.
Ms. Wadell?
So I am Tisha Wadell, your candidate for mayor in the city of Fayetteville, and I am very much like a lot of the people who are in this city. I was a single mom of 2 children. I had to figure out how to make it do what it do in order to make it in this community. And fortunately, I was able to do that with the support of my family, my church home, and a lot of other really great people in this community. I have been on public assistance. I know that life. I also know what it looks like to work your way out of debt with the support of your community. I believe that we need to get back to that level of thinking. We need to understand how to hold each other accountable, how to uphold one another, and how to move this city forward together. I am not here to solve every problem. I'm here to be accessible, to listen, and to create opportunities for us together to move Fayetteville forward. I stand for transparency, ethics, and accountability, and I have done so since the first day that I raised my hand to serve as a city council member, and will continue to do so. I hope to earn your vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in the Cumberland County area since 1975. I did 32 years in the United States Army. I'm a former battalion commander, and I know how to lead. I know how to get things done, and I am a multitasker. I spent 20 years in plans and operations where I worked at the global level of executing missions that are far beyond what the problems that we have here in the city of Fayetteville. I'm a business owner, and I'm also a family man. I got 6 children and 15 grandkids, and I understand the struggles that families go through, okay, to make it ends meet in their lives. And so what I'm asking today is that the citizens of Fayetteville strongly consider Freddie Cruz as your next mayor, because we do need a change. I'm a fighter. I won't quit. I'll hang in there until the end. God bless you and thank you.
Hi, you guys. I'm Nahlee Smith. I am a single parent as well of two beautiful, stressful young men. I'm originally from Jersey. I came down here. I've seen how it looked in Fayetteville from beginning to now, and I'm fighting for us to get back to the beautiful city I once saw. I am not coming here to give y'all and tell y'all what y'all want to hear. I'm a type of person that tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So I do understand I'm not always received with open arms. It's okay, because I'm here for a reason. My question is, I wanted to know where, for the people that were already sitting on the council as they had been, why now? Like, what's going to be different now? That's my thing. You guys were here a long time, but we ain't seen nothing. What's going to be different now? That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mitch Colvin, born and bred, not too far up the street. I'm a husband, a father, small business owner, and the only man on this podium that has actually done this job. We are serious in serious times, and serious times require serious leadership and experience. Now is not the time for untested, unproven promises, but someone who's actually done the job yesterday and the day before that and be ready to do it tomorrow. So we've had jobs added, we've had investment added, things that have been talked about tonight, more homeowners in this community, more infrastructure has been invested, more has been done in our community over the last several years, but our work is not finished. I am running because I love this city and I love this community, and I am here to fight every day to make it a better place. And so I'm asking on October the 7th, asking for your vote. Serious times call for serious measures, stable, improving leadership, and that's Mitch Colvin. Thank you.
I'm Clifton Johnson, and first of all, I just want to thank you all for allowing me to come here and speak. I'm speaking to you today, even though I am running for mayor, I'm also a citizen. So I first would like to thank all of you all here on this council for putting your name on the ballot and actually running, because it is an actual hard job to actually do. For Mayor Mitch Colvin, thanks for the service you've given to this city. Ms. Kathy, thank you. Mario, thank you. And Ms. Wadell, thank you, because you actually served also. I'm asking for all of you all to look at all these candidates up here and make a choice for Fayetteville. We all love this city, and we all need to come together as a community and understand that we're a team, but Fayetteville first. Fayetteville should be at the middle of all the discussions, all the decisions. There's no I in team. Thank you.
I believe in the promise of this city, a promise that we can fulfill together. I've spent the past 12 years working to make our homes stronger, safer, and connected. It's not just a job, it's a personal mission for me. This is not about politics, it's not about policy, it's about people. It's about ensuring that every family has every opportunity that every other family has. It's about building a city where our kids don't just live, they thrive, and they thrive to a place that they can stay here and raise their families. I am ready to lead with experience to get everything done and the integrity to do it. With your vote, we will build a Fayetteville where every neighborhood is valued, every resident is heard, and every dream has a chance to take flight. My name is Kathy Jensen. I'm born and bred from Fayetteville, and I ask you for your vote on October 7th.
Mr. Benavente?
My name is Mario Benavente, and I hope after today's forum, y'all can see that I've got the work ethic and I've got the diligence in studying the kinds of issues that are most important to you, the citizens, than any other candidate on this stage. We've been knocking doors since April. We were one of the first ones to make an announcement that we were running for this seat, because no matter who was on the ballot, we had a case to make for Fayetteville. And since then, we've seen an incredible response from all different walks of life, every different generation. Anytime that we have an event, you will see that there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people that come out, and we've got that energy that we want to turn into change for this city. There are a lot of changes happening around the community. We have a new police chief, a new school superintendent, lot of you folks on the Cumberland County Commissioners, this community is ready to take this city to the next level. When a lot of folks are using the term stability, it really just means staying stagnant. We don't need another 2 years of the same old, because we know that 2 years from now, we're going to be back in the same position we are today, the need for a new mayor. So I hope to be that mayor for you this year. Let's not waste any more time.